What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome to another episode of Inquirer Rochelle, where we're covering the book Atomic Habits. I apologize for not being here last week and posting anything last week. It's been a crazy week and I did not get a chance to. But this week, we are going to tackle Atomic Habits, Chapter 3: How to Build Better Habits and Four Simple Steps. Habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. We start building habits by trial and error. If we have a habit we want to solve, we develop ways to solve that problem. And then we perform that solution over and over again. Then that problem's not a problem anymore. We make the solution something we do on an everyday basis, and then it becomes a habit. Basically, if we have a problem, we have to figure out the best way to solve that problem. And in doing so, meaning in solving that problem, we figure out the steps that we got to the solution. So we have a problem, and then how we solve that problem. All those steps that we took in between basically becomes a habit as we do it over and over and over again. So, according to Claire, habits reduce your cognitive load and free up your mental capacity so that way you have the time to allocate different tasks or do different things in your day. It's not going to take up so much time. Okay. It's things that you do on repetition. You have a problem, you want to solve it, you do all the steps in between, every day or all the time. I'm trying to think of a really good example. For me, it would probably be driving to work. You take the same route to work on a daily basis. The problem is you have to get from your house and then you have to get to your job. And in between, all the steps that it takes for you to get there, that becomes your habit. Grabbing your keys before you leave the house, making sure you turn on your alarm or locking your doors, making sure your pets are secured, and then leaving for work, getting into your car, and knowing the route that you drive to work all becomes your routine and it becomes habit if you do it on a regular basis, which we all pretty much do. You know how you're getting to work on a daily basis, right? So all these things in between, getting in your car, turning on the engine, it all becomes routine. You know exactly what you're doing. So that becomes your habit. So in chapter 3, they break down building a habit into 4 stages. Number 1 is cue, number 2 is craving, number 3 is response, and number 4 is reward. Stage 1, cue, that triggers your brain to start a behavior. Stage 2 is craving, the motivation behind the habit. What do you want to change? So, stage 3 is the response, meaning the actual habits that you perform to get to where you want to go or to get to your solution. What James says in the book is that you have to keep your response within your ability. So, meaning, and he gives this example as you're reading chapter 3, doing a slam dunk. I can't do a slam dunk. I can't jump that high and I won't be able to set that goal for myself. But if you do something that you cannot physically do or mentally do, you're just not going to do it. So keep your response within your physical abilities and your mental abilities. Don't go past it to something that you are never going to accomplish because you're just never going to do the steps in order to get to that end result or to that solution. Stage 4 is rewards. So the reward is satisfying your craving, meaning that you are getting to the end goal, your solution, that full loop of cue, craving, response, and reward. Reward is the last part, it closes out the loop, and you get to the grand finale. You get to what you want. You are solving the problem, and this is the solution to the problem. Now, Claire breaks down cue, craving, response, and reward into 2 different phases: the problem phase and the solution phase. The problem phase is cue and craving, right? And then the solution phase is the response and the rewards. And he gives us a couple of examples in the book, one of them being coffee, right? So the cue is that you wake up in the morning and then your craving is, man, I need to wake up. I need to be more alert. I need to just get up and get out of bed and do something. Your response is that you're getting up and you're going downstairs or you're going into your kitchen and here comes the coffee. You're going to brew some coffee, and in your mind, that's going to help me become more alert. And then you drink the coffee, and that's your reward. Your reward is drinking the coffee because the coffee is now associated with you becoming more alert, and it's now associated with you waking up in the morning. We wake up in the morning and you have to have your coffee. You wake up in the morning, you have to have your coffee. There's your habit. Needing the coffee, waking up in the morning, sorry, is your cue. Your craving is that you need to be more alert. So, what can I do to become more alert? Your response is, I have to make a cup of coffee and I need coffee in order to be alert. And your reward is drinking that cup of coffee and then associating it with coffee makes me more alert. And now that is your habit in the mornings. And that's how he breaks down cue, craving, response, and reward. Now, to end chapter 3, he touches on what he's going to, or not keep saying he, but James Clear touches on what he is going to continue in all the other chapters. And it's based on the 4 stages, which he wants to make into 4 laws. So at the end of chapter 3, again, he touches briefly on changing the stages to laws. And it is his framework, James Clear. It's called the 4 laws of behavior change. And basically, it wants to make what he's talking about a little more practical for us to implement it in our lives. And he does so by asking 4 questions. And each question relates to the law or what we discussed as the stages in his book. The framework is a simple set of rules to help us make good habits or work on our good habits and kind of get rid of the bad habits. So we're going to ask ourselves these 4 questions, I guess, every time a problem arises, but he'll dive a little deeper into it in the next upcoming in his upcoming chapters. You want to make a change in your behavior. These are the 4 stages, now laws that James Clear wants you to implement. Number 1 is cue. How do I make it obvious? Number 2 is craving. How do I make it attractive? Number 3 is response. How can I make it easy? And number 4 is reward. How can I make it satisfying? I cannot discuss this with you on this rounds because I have no idea what the breakdown is quite just yet. Again, I'm reading the book, hopefully, just as you are. So we'll touch on the 4 laws of behavior change in the next couple of chapters, which he does. So yeah, those are the 4 questions. Don't know how to relate them to me quite just yet, but we're going to get there. So, cue, craving, response, and reward. We want to change our good habits. I'm sorry, we want to change our bad habits to good ones, or we just want to make good habits in general. We have a problem and we need a solution. Let's make the steps in between to get to our reward, to get to our solution to our problem. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Inquire Rochelle as we cover atomic habits. And I will hopefully see you next week. Life's a little busy right now, but I'm trying my best to stay on track because this is my 2025 goal, just to film a few things. All right. I'll see you guys next time. And thank you for watching.